Hello, my name is Christopher Cabiness, and I am the guest host for Middle Georgia Spotlight. And we are presently located here at the campus of Mercer University, here where WMUB houses a major production here to bring awareness and enhance our communication here in Macon, Middle Georgia. And I am blessed to share as your special guest host for once again the Middle Georgia Spotlight, and would like to acknowledge one of Macon's own, C. Jack Ellis, as well as Mr. Bob Ficklin, who has allowed me this opportunity to come and to share on this day. And we are excited to share, but not only with you, but I'm definitely excited to share with some great men who are definitely cutting the edge and cultivating the culture here in Macon, Middle Georgia. And so we have some individuals here at the table, and we're just here to just dialogue and have somewhat what we would call a roundtable discussion. And so I know who these guys are to my right as well as to my left. I'm somewhat feeling some type of way because I'm surrounded by orange, white, and blue. And yet I bleed black, gold, and red. But we got some central charges here at the table who are representing that school over there across the street, Central. But I'm East Side out loud. But by the way, why don't you just, I know who you are, but why don't you share with our viewers here in Macon, Middle Georgia, who you are. But I will start. Many of you may not know, but I am Christopher Cabiness, and I serve as pastor of New Hope Church here in Macon, as well as the founding visionary of The Move. But yet I also serve as a community leader as well. And yet we have to my right and to my left some guys who will take the time to introduce themselves. And so we'll start with this Central Charger alumni.
What's up, Macon? I'm Belvin Ware. I serve as the youth minister at the Macedonia Baptist Church on 600 Eisenhower Parkway. And yes, I am a graduate of the Central High School class of 1996.
Okay, all right.
Yes, sir. I'm Virgil Watkins, County Commissioner representing District 8 of Macon-Bibb, also class of 2002 Central Charger.
Okay.
I want to start by clarifying one thing. Pastor Cabiness started off by saying that school over there somewhere, but he knows exactly where that school is. And so my name is Bryant Wardell Rains. I serve as the pastor of the New Pilgrim Baptist Church in Bellevue, Georgia. And I am also a 1995 graduate of Central High School. This is Orange Country. This is C's house.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, I feel a little intimidated, but I'll make it out of this. But yeah, outside of all of that, man, you guys are doing some amazing work in the community, not just in the four walls of your church, but you all doing some work within our community, as well as you, Virgil, man. You have definitely been a voice for 5 generations, really, in our community. Serving in the area of politics. But one of the things that I want our viewers to really see and to know that what we have at the table is individuals who are just not limited to a box, if you will. But you guys are doing what I would call, once again, cultivating the culture, being a voice for the voiceless. And so what I kind of want you guys to do is to kind of bring us into your world, because I know there's so much more to who you are than what you do. And so we know that what you do is you pastor. What you do is you serve as a youth pastor. What you do, you serve in politics with Macon-Bibb city government. But kind of bring us into your world as it relates to some of the things that you have going on in your world as it relates to the work in the community, as it relates to your purpose and your destiny. So kind of start with you, Brian. What kind of bring us into your world and kind of bring us up to speed on some of the things that you got going on that we can be aware of. Because one of the things that I really want us to really chop wood, we want to chop a little wood today, is kind of talk about what's going on, man, with our city, with our community. I know we can talk about what's going on with our country, but let's kind of bring it more zero in. What's some of the things that are going on in our city and our community, and we know the violence is an issue, poverty is an issue, lack of education is an issue, mental health is an issue. But yet I know that you guys are visionaries and your ears are to the streets, and you guys are compassionate, also passionate about making Middle Georgia. So kind of just bring us into your world, man. What you got going on?
Well, one of my favorite scripture texts is found in John chapter 9.
Okay, John 9.
John 9. In John 9, the disciples were adamant about asking Jesus a question about who did sin, this man or his parents, that he was born blind. And Jesus hurriedly turned the tables of the conversation and said, neither has this man or his parents sinned, but he was found in this situation so that the works of God would be made manifest in his life. Mm-hmm. And then he turns again and says, I must work the works of him that sent me while it is day, for nighttime is coming when no man can work. And the work that we find ourselves doing in the Bearview area is centered around that. It's not centered so much about what other people are saying of who sinned, who's to blame for having our community and the predicament that we find ourselves in, but finding a viable solution by which we're all able to sit at the table of brotherhood and come up with some conclusions of how to move the work that we have been placed here in our communities to move forward as a whole, because no man is an island, no man stands alone. Every one of us are part of the peninsula, part of the whole. And so my whole thrust in Bellevue is to work the works of him that sent me while it's day, because no one knows when the nighttime is going to come, when we have to quit this busy walk of life. And so in Bellevue, we're located in a unique location because we have been blessed with a gym that our pastor, Curtis Rain Sr., was able to have a vision to build back in 1997. Mm-hmm. And through that initiative, we host several community functions, events, and also we house a GED center that we partner hand in hand with Central Georgia Technical College. And it's been running since 1997. We've had many people to graduate out of that situation from that partnership with Central Georgia Technical. So we're very, very proud of that partnership. And many lives have been changed because of that partnership with Central Georgia Technical College. And from that, we run a day and evening GED class Monday through Thursday, every day of the week. Besides, when the schools break for holidays, we also break. But we are thankful for that program that has been that many have been the benefactor because it exists in the Bellevue community. Not only do we have the GED program that's housed in the Curtis Rain Senior Community Development Center or Learning Center, but we also have other initiatives that are outside of the walls. Most of the ministry that Jesus did was not inside of four walls.
Correct, absolutely, absolutely.
And most of when you saw him heal, when you saw him touch, when you saw him conduct himself in ministry, it was outside.
Right. Because the very people he was called to didn't have access.
That's right.
To the temple.
They
couldn't go. They was ostracized.
That's right. And so when you talk about working the work of him that sent me, you have to talk about working how he worked.
Right.
And he worked outside of the walls. Yeah. And sometimes we can get paralyzed on worship styles, on how to do it on the inside, that we get very stagnant when it comes to what we're called to do on the outside. I was blessed to be a part of the chaplain corps in the military, and in the chaplain corps, I was taken by this one motto that we live by, but the motto was enter to worship, exit to serve. Mm-hmm. and we enter to worship, we exit to serve outside of those walls. And so the other ventures that we have going on is that we're proud of is we were able to gain access through the Curtis Rain Senior Foundation to the old Bill Auburn Nursing Home facility.
Right,
and we're in the midst of converting that to a first-class health facility in the neighborhood. And so we want to reach the disparities when it comes to health in our neighborhood, so to have a great pair mix, those with insurance, those without insurance, those who are underinsured. And my brother Curtis Raines Jr. is leading that effort along with a board that's running that to bring adequate health care in the 31204, 31206 zip code. And we're partnering. It's not just a one-man show, but it's a community effort, and it will be open for the entire community. We've also been blessed to purchase the old existing Bellevue School, and
that's the old Head Start.
That's the old
right
EOC
there
Head Start
okay.
on the corner of Napier, Ayers, and Park.
Right.
And we're excited about that because we're excited about the possibilities of our children. When you look at the statistics, you look and we find that when our children sometimes get to the 5th grade, and you know this firsthand with working with several of our schools, and I appreciate your efforts in doing so. And you see that we have some children in the 5th grade reading on the 1st grade level, which is devastating. and so purchasing the school was not so much for New Pilgrim. It was for someone to come in, another 501c perhaps, who has educational backgrounds to, so we can partner with to run that school and provide, school readiness, child readiness, and prepare them for jobs that have not been thought of yet.
Correct.
Part of the education process to me is to prepare the children for jobs that have not been thought of. And that's education to me. It comes from the Latin educa, E-D-U-C-A, education, educa, to pull out, Latin. So education, to me, to be educated really is to pull out educa, pull out what's already on the inside. Our teacher's job are to pull out the doctor that's on the inside, pull out the nurse that's on the inside, the lawyer that's on the inside. And to be truly educated is really to pull out the greatness that God has already placed on the inside of us.
And I like that because, we often talk about train up a child in the way that they should go, and when they get old, they won't, depart from that. But that whole training up a child has everything to do with what you're saying. At an early age, find out what their passions are, find out what their potential are, and kind of begin to cultivate those areas in their lives. That way, when they get to 8th grade or get to, sophomore, junior, and senior, they're not undecided. They're not going off to college in their sophomore year trying to figure out what it is I want to do, what it is I want to be. And I like that because that's truly the epitome of what real ministry, gives and what it serves, not only just within the church, but also, within the home as well as in the educational system. It seems to me, man, that you are truly a visionary. You're not just a preacher, which you have a gift to do. You're one of God's best.
Thank you.
You're not just a pastor, but you are a visionary. And how the scripture says, my people perish where there's no vision. My people perish. And that simply means the people run wild. There's no order. And so, man, I want to just commend you on being a visionary, because Macon has enough preachers, we have enough pastors,
Say it.
but we don't have enough visionaries.
And I want to just throw it back in your lap to say the same. And so I know that I don't speak by myself, but for many pastors, preachers, and also laity people that sit in the pew, appreciate your vision and what you bring to the table when it comes to Macon Middle Georgia, and always wanting to bring something better and elevate our stance when it comes to the people of Macon Middle Georgia. And so thank you for being that.
Well, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. I mean, we brothers, so you can take your money back. You didn't have to pay him to say that, man. But I appreciate you, B. I really do, man. Much love to you. What's going on in your world, man? You're making night. Obviously, you've already shared that with the whole Central thing.
Right.
But you went off military.
Right.
Marine Corps.
Yeah, so I grew up here in Macon, graduated high school in '96, went to Macon State College for a couple of years, and then I joined the Marines in 1998, and I've been away from Macon for almost 20 years
Right,
now.
I was about to say, it's been about 20 years.
Yeah, and so I answered the call to come into the ministry back in September 2013.
Okay.
So I'm a baby in this thing.
Okay.
You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
man,
Y'all.
wet,
I'm
man.
a little wet behind the ears. Y'all the
wet
OGs. I'm a baby in this thing. But I came into the ministry, and God has just been blowing my mind like ever since. I cannot believe where I am right now, because in a sense I've come back full circle. Because where I serve at Macedonia, that's the church that I actually grew up in.
Okay.
My mother and my sister are still members there.
Right,
A lot of the people that I knew when I was in the children's choir, the youth choir, when I was a junior deacon there, a lot of those people are still there. So back in 2016, I came and I preached Christmas morning for Pastor Eddie D. Smith Sr. And ever since then, ever since 2016, he's been, talking to me and asking me about, how would I feel about coming back to serve as the youth minister. What that actually came into fruition back in 2018.
And I do want to let everybody know he is the Godfather.
He is the Godfather.
Okay, I just want
He
to
is the
put that on
Godfather.
there.
He is the Godfather of ministry here in the Macon and Middle Georgia area, and throughout the whole state, throughout the whole country. Pastor Smith has truly set the tone. Macedonia back in the day, as everybody knows, 928 Anthony Road, the down home church in the city. Macedonia did some things that nobody has ever done before.
Right.
So I'm forever grateful to be working up under such a great man of God. And so I came in 2018 July. So this at the end of this July will be a year that I've been there.
All right.
But I came in and I hit the ground running.
You did.
But because I was just so ready to do what God had put me here to do. Since I've been there, we've established a youth church. It's called The Spot. The Spot stands for a spiritual place of transformation. When we first started The Spot, we was doing it on First Friday. So I had this concept where I was like, okay, all the adults, they go downtown on First Friday.
Right.
Well, what you gonna do with them kids while you downtown? Bring them to The Spot.
Okay.
And so it was it's live, it's got the lights, it's got the loud music, we have a live DJ there.
Okay.
And so the whole service is put on by them. They do the prayer, they do the welcome, we even have our praise dancers, they come through and minister every now and then. And then I give them maybe like a 15-20 minute message.
Okay.
After that message, we break them out into their age groups and they sit down and they have a dialogue just like what we're doing right here to talk about the message amongst themselves.
Oh, wow.
We feed them. After they dialogue, we feed them. We set up the PlayStation, the Xbox, and we just let them have at it. So we're there every first Friday from 7 to 9. And then since then, we've also transitioned The Spot over to Sunday mornings.
Okay.
So Pastor Smith has also allowed me to do a Sunday morning spot on every first, second, and fourth Sunday.
Okay.
So we've transitioned over to that also. And we're currently now in the process of officially adopting Bruce Elementary School.
Awesome.
Bruce Elementary School, which is right down the street,
Right down the street.
on Houston Avenue. I've been in a conversation with Mrs. Bostic out at Pendleton Homes.
Okay.
So we have a tentative date on August the 24th where we're going to take what we do at the spot to the grounds of Pendleton Home.
Right.
And we're going to set up down there and we're going to do the service. We're going to feed them. Just another way of, like you said, and like Brian alluded to, getting outside them four walls.
Right,
Because
right.
everybody ain't walking into the church.
And that's what I love, man, because, man, this new generation, I mean, all of us are representatives of the X generation, but man, this YZ generation, they're not necessarily coming to us or coming to our church unless it's a funeral or a wedding.
That's right.
And to know that you're basically taking ministry to them, it gives them an opportunity to understand, man, that these persons are not just up here in the upper room. And when we look at that whole Acts piece, the church did not fully manifest itself until they came out of the upper room and began to meet the social needs of the people.
That's right.
And I will say this to my dying day. It's all about spiritual and social balance. You gotta bring those two components together.
Yeah.
You can't tell people, hey, Jesus will be bread,
But you don't never give me a sandwich.
but you don't give me a sandwich. You know what I'm saying? You can talk all day about he gonna be bread, but or he's a healer, but I can't meet this $500 prescription payment. You know what I'm saying? And so, man, that's a blessing to know, man. And I understand too that it also extends the legacy of what you're doing. I don't want you to miss this now.
Yeah.
Because what you're doing, you are extending the legacy of Macedonia.
Right.
And the legacy can't necessarily stop at your generation,
Right.
which is X, because there's the Y and then the Z. So, man, I just want to commend you on coming to Macon, hitting the ground running.
Yeah.
It's almost like you never left.
Yeah.
And just to know, man, that you have a passion that's outside of the mainstream of the church mindset. You know what I'm saying? When it comes, because we think we just come in the church, we get our emotional high, and then we go on out the doors,
Yeah.
and we back to our normal way of living.
Yeah.
But man, just to know, man, you have a passion, man, that far exceeds the upper room, if you will. And I love the fact, man, that you are taking ministry, to the area where it's really needed. And we know South Macon needs it, Bellevue needs it,
Yeah.
West Macon needs it, Bloomfield needs it, these different areas need it. Well, I call him Watt, y'all. I call him Watt. But Virgil, man, man, I'm just shocked, man, that for you to be so young, and you've been in this thing, man, for a minute now, and you're still young. I mean, you graduated in 2002, but man, what kind of got you into the politics, man?
So I actually started out interning under Mayor Ellis.
Okay.
11th grade year in high school, and ran that full term with him. And I've been elected now. My first seat was in 2007. As a city councilman with the old city. And always, even today, the goal is to create a government that is responsive to the people, about the service, and actually get into the lives of folks. It's very easy for folks, and for a long time you had that concept of treating government like a business, where we're responsible for the bottom line and trying to do things in the most efficient way possible.
Right.
That's one field of thought that had taken over government, and now we're trying to get to a place where we're responsive to the needs of people, putting people first, providing services that are needed. When we talk about the situation with gun violence, that is the symptom. It is the byproduct of poverty, stress, trauma, all put together in one concentrated space. It causes violent acts of activity. And we got to be for real about that as a government. So often our response is, let's throw more police at it. Let's create a larger jail. Let's be reactive.
I just want you to know you setting this whole thing up. I just want you to know you setting this dialogue. You're really setting it up for me. So,
and I'm excited about the dialogue because it requires more than the sheriff's office. It requires the programs that y'all are talking about at this table, and the government to support that to really make a difference. When we're talking about the crime rates, number one in violent crime, number 3 in property crime. When it comes to educational attainment, I think it's 159 counties, and we're ranked like 152 in graduation rates and third grade reading rates. And it requires more from all of us. When we talk about job training and skills gaps, that is us stepping in and finding a way to serve our people. Because to me, it's dismissive when we say that, the reason that district doesn't have jobs, has low-paying jobs, is because they didn't graduate correctly or get their proper life skills. Well, when we sent them to school for our tax money, and even now for the government, we're the ones that were responsible for them kids, and they are the product. Our goal is to create successful citizens that are engaged civically, right?
Right.
And when we don't do that, it require someone to be responsible. And in my role, that is, the government. And it's funny, when we're at City Hall, a lot of times we ask, where are the churches? Because these are the institutions that folks look to for leadership. Right?
But this is crazy because we always have talked about the separation of church and state. And I've always said, man, in order for there to be an impact of effectiveness and seeing fruitfulness and productivity in our city, there can't be a separation of church and state, man. You need both entities.
Yeah.
Which goes back to the spiritual and social balance.
Yeah, from my understanding on that, sometimes we take those sayings too far, right? Like church and state was about that. Yeah, they shouldn't be the same entity.
Right.
That the Pope shouldn't be the ruler of the world. That's taking it a little too far. But there still should be interaction. I think we were seeing some of our best growth in this city with the faith-based initiative, when the government and the church were talking together every day, and there were services and resources, because the government is the best at organizing. We had the mayor has his pulpit, and he's the best at organizing folks. When we say that the initiative of the city this year is X, just like y'all do at y'all church, that's what everybody, but it's what everybody's doing. And that was the beauty back in the late 2000s of that faith-based initiative. We were all about trying to work with these kids, right? Everything was a youth program. If you had a church, we had a roundtable that you could sit at, and we could figure out how to best service our community without duplicating services and giving everybody that they needed. But when we get away from that and we just want to focus on the trash collection or the basics of government, we do, in large part, our city a disservice. I spend a lot of time working in Blight, because there's the point of making us safe, but there's also making this community clean, right? Pleasant Hill has become a big focal point. The county just acquired Booker T. Washington. And when you let things sit, Booker T. Washington is going to be a key example, man. It's set for a little bit better than a year. Another brother from the church, Stone Academy, Tony Loudon, was running that program.
Doing a great work there.
Doing great work. And now he's at Jimmy Carter's old church. He's moved on. But in that move, it left a vacant building, right? And you've got copper damage, vandalism damage, windows busted out, and now it's part of the government and the community to rebuild that and activate that space.
I got you. Not to cut you off, but we're coming right back, you guys. Things are getting ready to kind of heat up just a little bit in our conversation, because we really want to key in on a couple of things. And so Virgil Watkins, one of our commissioners here in Macon Bibb, he's going to pick right back up. But we're going to end this edition of this dialogue and this roundtable. I am Christopher Cabiness. This is Belvin Ware, Bryant Rains, and Virgil Watkins. And we're just here chopping a little wood, seeing what we can build here in Macon, Middle Georgia, as we look to see what can we do to just make our city a better place to live. And so once again, shout out to Middle Georgia Spotlight, as well as Mercer University, WMUB. We'll be right back. See you in a few minutes. Peace.